Evening.
Thursday, July 9th, 2026, regular meeting of the Nottoway County School Board is now called to order. We shall have a moment of silence, followed by prayer if you so choose. And then those that are able, please stand for our Pledge of Allegiance. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you once again for this day and for this moment in time. Thank you tonight for our board. Thank you for our clerk. Thank you for our superintendent that's filling in tonight. Thank you for our superintendent that's overseas. Ask tonight that you continue to watch over each of us. Thank you for our members of the media that are here, for our staff. Watch over our member that's absent from us tonight, Mr. Wilson and his family. We thank you for your mercy. We thank you for your grace. You thank you for your wise providence. Continue to give us the strength that we need to work every day, to be the best that we can be, to be the best example that we can be. And we continue to ask you to watch over us each and every day. In the mighty name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have a motion to approve the agenda for July 9th?
So moved, Mr. Chairman. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, sign of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we have no awards and recognitions tonight. Do we have anyone signed up for delegation from the public tonight? No delegation from the public. All right, do we have a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I will move to approve the consent agenda items A, B, C, D, E, and F.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, sign of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we will begin with our first action item, the second reading of the 2026 School Board Policy Updates from Dr. Lewis.
Chairman and school board members, this evening I present to you all the second read of the policy and procedures. So we've had our first reading. This is our second reading. We did pull the JGDA, discipline with students with disabilities, from the list to do separately so that we can talk about the discussion of the wording. Do you have any questions about any of the policies?
I have one.
Mr. Outlaw.
In item E, B, C, D, A, it talks about an electronic room partition. What is that?
May I answer, Mr. Chair?
Yes, ma'am.
It's those electronic partitions, that room dividers that automatically will separate a room. They're like an accordion divider, and some of them are manually done and some of them are electronically done. And that's what those are.
Well, I have something in there about how you must or must not use this electronic partition.
It's in the event that if we ever did get those, say for instance, something should happen to one of our buildings and we need an electronic petition or some sort of a petition that's needed, then we are covered under the policy, under the code.
So it's a safety issue.
It is a safety issue. The middle school, as you know, has those walls. Heather, correct me if I'm wrong, they have those walls that are collapsible, that we could use petitions to reorganize rooms if needed in an emergency, and it is a safety issue, yes, sir.
Okay, but we do have the electronic ones in some,
I don't believe we have any electronic ones now. It's just in the event that if we do need them, it is for that.
thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Lewis, I have 6 that I have concerns with. The first is GAE, which is Child Abuse and Neglect Reporting. I've read it 3 times, and I can't tell you who the first person is that has to make the call. It basically suggests that we have to call state agencies, parents, supervisors, and so on. I would hope that there is a procedure that would suggest who calls whom. Reading this, it is confusing to me as to who would be. I would think that the first person that noticed what they thought was child abuse or neglect would be the first reporting person. But who they report to me, is subject in this policy, whether that's the state agency, their immediate supervisor, or whomever. GAH, which is,
All right, Mr. Abbott, they want to address that one first, so we'll do them one at a time.
okay,
You can go ahead.
We are all mandated reporters. Within the school system, if a teacher notices something, they bring it to the administrators within the building, as well as the school counselors, and they are the ones that reach out to the Department of Social Services. But if they cannot locate those individuals, they are mandated reporters. So whoever sees it, they're supposed to report it.
okay, I appreciate that. I just thought that it is, if somebody else were to read this, it's not as clear. So if there's a procedure that outlines how that happens, and I appreciate that. GAH, which is the conflict of interest. My question was, is there a phone number that you call?
Yes, sir. You would contact the school board office, the superintendent's office.
Oh, so I don't contact some government official for a conflict of interest situation?
No. Your first call is to contact the superintendent's office.
Okay. GBGB.
GBGB?
GBGB.
GBGB.
I think I know the answer to this one, but I'm going to bring it out anyway. Wearable panic alarm for staff. I don't think we have such a thing. Should we ever have one, it's going to take a whole lot of circumstance so that if I'm wearing a panic alarm and I push the button, I need to know where that alarm's going, who else hears it or receives it, and how will they know where I am when I push the button? This just says wearable panic alarm systems means what it means. Well, there's a lot more to it than that. Now, the most serious one of all of these is JFCD KGBA, page 3. It outlines what a weapon is. A weapon, device, instrument, material, or substance, animal or inanimate, that is used for or is readily capable of causing death or serious bodily injury, except that such term does not include a pocket knife with a blade of less than 2.5 inches in length. Well, I sent a picture to Ms. Wood, and she was kind enough to send it to the rest of the board. It was a picture of a knife with a 2.25 inch blade. I would hope that we could eliminate that paragraph completely. Any weapon should not be allowed on school grounds. I don't care the length of the blade. That a 2 1/4 inch blade, I could do serious damage if it was my intent with a blade that size.
Yes, sir.
If memory serves, on 911, some of the attackers in one of the aircraft, the one that crash landed in Pennsylvania, they used box cutters,
Yes.
which are nowhere near the length
That's
of
right.
those blades.
And the last is JLB, which is Financial Aid Information and Guidance for High School Students. I was confused when I read it as to what it is we're offering to our high school students with this policy.
All right.
So with JLB, we're required to provide financial aid information to all students. And that's just information of how you do it. We offer sessions where they come in and they are shown how to complete the FAFSA forms. But code law is saying that we have to do it. So we have to provide them with information on scholarships and financial aid.
I just wanted to make sure that we weren't saying how to, that we were offering some form of funding, for students. Okay, that was the clarification I needed. Now, my last question would be, if we approve these tonight, do we need to have a first reading, second reading, especially for the one that I seriously object to, the JFCD with the blade? Is that what would be required?
Well, the one thing that I would just want to share is that it does align with the federal definition. So this definition that you read aligns with the federal definition. And there have been no changes to this particular policy. I mean, I've been in education for,
Doesn't our school policy itself, code of conduct, state that no weapons?
No weapons, that's
campus at
correct.
all?
That's what I was going to bring up. Our own,
It says no
our own
weapons
Nottoway
on school
policy.
property at all.
Yeah, our own Nottoway
This one is
policy
to align.
doesn't allow
So you
any
go
weapon.
above,
And it doesn't-
But below.
It doesn't have that clarification about what size blade, like Mr. Outlaw said, a box cutter is a weapon.
But now,
And that is a good,
So we already have
we can
our,
always tighten up on federal or state regulations. You cannot relax on
you
them.
cannot relax
So
them,
our-
you can tighten them, that's
Our
right.
code of conduct tightened up on it by saying none are allowed at all.
Our code is stricter than that code. Like Mr. Outlaw said, this pen can be a weapon if you want to make it one. Easily.
And Mr. Abbott, I would also like to just point out to you that if a weapon is brought to campus, it is, of course, retrieved. Threat assessments are done. Our SROs are informed, and if they are certain length, they are turned over to all of them are turned over to the SROs, but there are guidance in our code procedures, discipline, to make sure that there is consequences that are strongly punitive, I would say.
I truly appreciate that and understand that the division has some strict. What I was concerned with is if we have competing policies. One policy says I can do this, and another policy says I can't. So do we need to make all of our policies consistent? I believe we should try to do that if it's at all possible. That's why I asked the question, what steps, and I'll take them if someone would advise me, and if this isn't the appropriate time, they can do it sometime later, on how to make a modification to that policy so that it excludes that kind of weapon.
Mr. Outlaw.
And I agree with Mr. Abbott, and I would suggest that we approve or disapprove all of these changes and then at some further point, look deeper into some of the things that you're mentioning and make the necessary changes.
Yes.
And that is an option, correct?
I'm not clear because we're not changing anything.
No, we're not changing anything.
I mean, there's nothing in that policy that's being changed, that's recommended to be changed.
At this,
Unless you're recommending
this time.
that policy and change it. Is that what you're saying now?
the GB is the one that the JFCD is the one I have the biggest. If that could be excluded from approval, I'm okay with that. Or if it can be modified this evening, I'm okay with that. I don't know what the appropriate.
The only part about that is, well, Dr. Martin has been in contact with us today to go over the policies again to make sure. And federal guidelines supersede any kind of policies that you're having. As you know, law supersedes your policy. So even if you changed it, your law is going to supersede your policy.
But again, if you tighten up on the law, make it stricter, that's not a problem.
It's not a problem, but
And that's what Mr. Abbott is proposing, if I understand correctly.
by taking that, it's up to the board's decision. I have no recommendation, obviously, I'm not in that, but her recommendation is to not, but it's up to you all. So we're just being her voice to you all tonight to say that is not her recommendation, is to leave it as is, and if we have to revisit it, we certainly will. But it will change our code of conduct, it will change a lot of things with this policy. So it's a crucial time right now for us to get these.
I think like I can't talk. Like Mr. Outlaw was saying, if it's approved, we can revisit it. It can be revisited.
Revisit it
I
anytime.
appreciate that Dr. Martin's on vacation, and I'm happy that she's on one, and she actually got to take one.
Yes.
And I'm more than willing to wait until she returns back to this part of the world, and we can sit down and figure out what's best for that one policy. The other ones, I just think, require clarification, and there probably are policies already in existence that I'm unaware of, but when you give me this, I read it.
Right. Well, we appreciate that.
Indeed.
They left out us.
Yes, sir.
Side subject. Dr. Martin, I thought, was on vacation. And which one of you two down there at the end are going to say something to her about that? This place hasn't fallen apart, and it's not going to.
Correct.
On vacation, leave Nottoway County Public Schools out of your mind.
Exactly.
And enjoy what time you have
Not
left.
possible, not possible.
That is why.
That's what we told her.
I'll call her and tell her.
Mr. Outlaw, that is why she was very, very direct with myself and Mrs. Wood as to what her recommendation would be. She gave us information to share as it relates to the policy. So she is on vacation, but she is still our boss, and she is definitely a good boss and
Only way that will
involved. And she wants things
will ever
done in decency and in order. So,
That's right.
I would suggest that she expects good input from all of her staff.
Yes, indeed. She gets it.
And it may not always align with hers, but I think that's expected of you. Anyway,
All right.
enough said.
She expects the board to, I mean, you all, it's your final decision, it's your policies. So she knows it's your final decision. It's just, this policy has not changed, it's the same policy. It's just a mirror policy for the public. It is for no weapon. It's
Yes,
just,
indeed.
it's identifying is what it is for a new policy for KGBA.
All right, do we have any more questions? All right, then may I have a motion to approve the 2026 school board policy updates?
Mr. Chairman, I will move to approve these policies and recommendations, the adoption of those revised policies.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, sign of aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, that motion carried. All right, B, the second reading of policy JGDA, discipline students with disabilities. Dr. Lewis.
So with this particular policy, the division is asking the board to allow the wording to remain in the policy, in our policy. The recommendation is to remove the wording, and we're recommending that we keep all of the clarifying information in that policy.
All right, any questions for Dr. Lewis? All right, then may I have a motion to approve the policy JGDA, discipline students with disabilities?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, sign of aye. Aye. All right. Let us see the 2026-27 Code of Student Conduct. Dr. Lewis.
All right, so just wanted to highlight some things in our student code of conduct. With our dress code, we did make some adjustments to the consequences and it's on page 26 in your code of conduct, where we are, of course, making sure that we are enforcing the guidelines, and that clothing, if you have a student that is not removing their hood, that you can remove the hood from them, and then of course give it back to them. We're not going to keep it, but we did tighten up on that particular consequence within the student code of conduct. With cell phones, you all know there's different guidance with cell phones, so we did adjust our verbiage to meet the policies that came out from the state. And that, what we have adjusted it to say is, if you read it, it says this, I'm going to read a little bit of it just so that you all understand what we added. This includes the time from bell to bell to the closing bell. Students must use school-based communication tools to communicate with parents during the instructional day. This includes all Nottoway County public schools. So in accordance with the law, cell phones, personal watches, they can be worn, but they are not to be seen or used bell to bell. And then the other adjustment that we looked at under transportation, which is on page 30. There's a note there, it says cursing at or threatening the driver, fighting on the bus, and or other severe safety infractions on the bus may result in suspension, which allows our administration to either implement a consequence or suspension, or they could do in school.
And just to clarify on that, that may really only refers to the first bus referral, correct?
Correct. Correct.
The second and third have suspensions already in the policy. Yeah.
Yes, sir. And then we also looked at AI. So, you know, AI is definitely, it's coming along. And so we want to make sure that we are in line with things dealing with AI. So through an implementation plan, internet safety and the effective use of AI are both taught to the and practiced by students. So we did add that so that we, of course, are encouraging our students to use it, but make sure that they're using it appropriately, as well as our teachers.
Right.
Make sure it's used appropriately.
Going back to the recommended consequences for dress code violations, on the third and subsequent offenses, administrative consequence. What does that mean?
That means that the administrator has the liberty to say it's either in school, out of school. It would be based on the severity of the infraction.
Say that again, please.
It would be based on the severity of the infraction. It could be in-school suspension or out-of-school suspension. But the administrator would make that decision.
I think it would be good to clarify that a little bit.
And I think that, are you saying that gives them the latitude to make
gives
the
them
decisions on a case-by-case basis?
It does.
Based on all the situation around it, is what you're
Correct.
saying?
Correct. And let me see here.
All right, any more questions about the 2627 Code of Student Conduct?
I have one other one. I wasn't sure. Were you looking for something for him?
Well, I was gonna find that one. You can ask your question.
And this goes to the effective use of AI. So I'm going, well, you know what they say about assuming, but effective because AI can be harmful in some situations. In addition to that, because I didn't find it, do we have anything in our policy regarding using AI for your schoolwork? I mean, that's something that, I mean, is okay, you know what I'm saying, and we can table it.
Yeah, I would have
But,
to
you know, that is something that you have a book report and just type it into AI, create a report, highlight this, change a few words, and bada bing, bada boom. You know, and do we have the appropriate measures and tools, to determine if the content that's being delivered to our teachers is as a result of AI, you know, because there are tools and there's programs out there to develop what the percentage of AI usage in the papers are.
That's part of plagiarism too.
Yes.
Yeah, but I would have to get
Plagiarism
And cheating.
and cheating, yeah.
If the assignment did not necessarily encourage the use of AI, because that's where a lot of classroom instructors are going towards, here, use AI in an effective way.
Right.
To use it that way, but if it's being used and it's not your words and it's someone else's words, even though it's a computer, it would fall under cheating or under plagiarism, so.
I guess my question is, do we have that defined? I looked, but I didn't find it.
Under, I don't think it's spelled out specifically, but it would fall currently under the cheating or the plagiarism.
Any further questions about the Code of Conduct? If not, then may I have a motion to approve the 2026-27 Code of Student Conduct?
Move to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor, sign of aye. Aye. All right, next is the 2026-27 Budget Amendment from Ms. Meyer, Honorary Dr. Meyer. I bestowed upon her an honorary title. I don't know if I have the authority, but I've done it.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board, Dr. Lewis. So you may remember back when we were doing fiscal year 27 budget, I told you there was a possibility once the state budget was passed that there may be a budget amendment to come in order for us to be in alignment with the state budget. Well, we do have one. It is not an overly large increase in funding, but there is an increase. So what you have before you this evening, the first page is a snapshot of the increase in operating fund revenue. So from the state as a whole, we're going to see an increase of $416,677. And where that falls, there's actually a little reduction in basic aid, a little increase in sales tax, a pretty decent size increase in SOQ at risk. Granted, they took away some from the lottery funded at risk. There's a sizable increase in the compensation supplement, which is because the state budget has a 4% increase, where the former governor's proposed budget, which is what our budget was based on, was just a 2% increase. So there's definitely some additional state funding to come to help with the pay increases. And then there's a decent sized increase in our infrastructure and operations funding. So what does this mean on the flip side for the county? Unfortunately, that means they do, I won't say owe us, but we're going to ask them for an additional $242,000 in order for them to be able to make or match their required local effort and required local match. First step tonight is for you all to approve the amendment, and then hopefully we will get it on their board agenda for next week, because this does affect pay raises, because we will have to raise support staff. So in the current budget that was adopted, support staff were getting a 3% pay raise, teachers were getting a 5%. In order to be in alignment with the state budget and in order for us to get the funding for the compensation supplement, we have to be in alignment with the state budget or else we can't accept it. We've got to move our support staff up to a 4% pay raise. That's custodians, bus drivers, secretaries, instructional aides. So those would be the staff members that would be affected. And we want to be able to make sure we can get those pay raises in effect before their first paycheck hits so that we don't have to back pay anybody that raise. So we're really trying to fast track this amendment. I have already sent this amendment to the new director of finance at the county, so she has it in her hands and can review it. The second page that you have this evening is just a breakdown of kind of where the money falls within the different categories on the expenditure side. I do not have the exact line by line, mainly because we're still working on that 4% pay scale and we're still working on that portion, but we do know that this will be where these funds will need to lie for on the expenditure side. So it is a total increase between what we're getting in state funding and what we're going to ask the county for of $659,425. And the bulk of that will be going to the 4% pay raise as well as an increase in just our operational funding, which is sorely needed considering, we've got the infrastructure issues we do across the school buildings. Dr. Martin also wanted me to mention this evening that the Board of Supervisors is talking at their work session, and it is our understanding they're going to be voting on getting that 1% sales tax on the ballot for November as a referendum. The biggest thing for us in conjunction with the Board of Supervisors is to really make sure that we can explain it to the constituents so they understand what it is. That it's not an increase on their property tax. It's not an increase on their car property tax. It does not increase the taxes on food or hygiene products. So it is like if you go to Walmart and buy a shirt, you're going to pay a few extra pennies on that shirt, and those few extra pennies will go to the school division to be used solely for construction and renovation. So that we can get our buildings back up to the code that they need to be at, up to ADA code, up to just, looking and performing well. We're dealing with the HVAC issue at Crew, but we have other issues. We have a leaky roof at Blackstone, so there's always constant issues that need to be done. So it is very important for us to be able to get any funding that we can get to be able to do these renovation and construction projects that are sorely needed across our school divisions that we've been band-aiding for years. So it is going to be very important if they do vote to put it on the ballot for November that we do work in conjunction with them just to be able to explain it to the constituents in Nottoway County exactly what it is and how it works.
Just a couple of things on that. Also included in exemptions are prescription drugs.
Correct.
I know a lot of people struggle just to get the drugs to start with, so that's exempted. And it can be used for the debt that's been incurred if you have, debt from past projects, construction or renovation.
Yeah, there's a cutoff for that, but yes, it can go back a little bit ways. We're also in the process of applying for that SCAP grant, which is the School Construction Assistance Program, to help offset the cost of the Crew HVAC project. So we're trying to do our due diligence and providing as much assistance there as possible.
And a good talking point, Nottoway is unique in many respects, but we have an awful lot of outside folks coming through Fort Pickett and Fast C that spend money here, and that is money that would not, well, that's additional to this 1%, so it pluses that up probably nicely.
Correct. So it's not just the citizens of Nottoway paying it. It is anybody who passes through the county would, pay that extra little, sales tax there. And it is something that it's not forever. It's there until the county repeals it. So, if we can get it passed and we can get our schools up to where they need to be, then, that can get repealed and come back off. So it's not like something that's permanent. But it would tremendously help our schools and make them as healthy and safe of an environment as we can possibly get them for our students, so that they are at school every day. And, we want to do our best to that. So I wanted to at least put that out there. But I am asking you this evening to please approve this budget amendment so that we can make sure we can get it to the county for next week.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
If the county refuses to pay the $242.7, what impact does that have to the school system?
Well, that means that we would have to look at potentially not accepting one of the match programs. And by doing that, we're not just losing the county portion of that, we then would be losing the state portion. So it's not an easy thing. I do not know what the county is going to do or not do on this front, but we certainly hope that they will support us in every way they can. We all realize the situation that the county is in financially, but at the same time, our kids deserve everything that we can give them, and that means, making sure our teachers are taken care of, making sure our staff's taken care of, making sure our buildings are taken care of.
Well, you and I are in the same ball field when it comes to hope.
Yes, indeed.
My concern is that the board has, on at least 2 occasions, indicated that part of the tax increase or part of the cost for the county is the school system. And this will just add a little more emphasis to their inability to understand school finance.
Well, and I believe Dr. Martin said it at the last school board meeting, successful schools bring in business and industry. It's a big driving factor of the economy. And that needs to be a prominent focus, I think, in order to be able to continue to grow this county.
Absolutely.
One last comment. Did the new finance director make any comments when given this document?
No, she's been asking questions back and forth with me all day, trying to just understand how we, come up with budget and how we do, the ins and outs of that. But no, she hasn't had any comment on this yet.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, any other questions for Ms. Myatt?
The only thing I have is, just so that way it can be spoken out publicly, can you give some suggestions, some examples of items that would be taxed and would not be taxed?
Well, so like clothing would be taxed, shoes, things like paper towels, paper plates, because those are not excluded from your food tax. Stuff like that would be dog food, cat food, electronics, gardening stuff, fishing gear, any of that type stuff would be.
I believe the wording when it talks about groceries, food for at-home consumption. I believe that's the wording on that.
So those are some of the items that, people could expect to have those little bit extra tax.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. I couldn't remember exactly how it was verbiaged.
Yes.
But I just want individuals and anybody who watches to understand that it is not a tax on the necessities of life per se.
Correct. The food that you buy to cook in your homes is not included. Toothpaste, deodorant, stuff like that is not included because those are hygiene products. So a lot of your everyday necessities are not necessarily included.
Thank you.
Can I ask one quick question? I'm sorry. Do we have an idea what it could generate? Because Nottoway County is usually 140 to 150 million in total tax on retail sales. Do we know within that number what the county could get for school construction?
I know at one point somebody had said something about potentially close to 600, 700,000 a year. That's estimate. So, that obviously can vary, but that was the last estimate. But I mean, that can go a long way. I mean, that's enough to put a roof on Blackstone Primary School, so would definitely be helpful.
I believe it was Spotsylvania County. They did an in-depth or had an in-depth study done on this, and they looked at all of the school divisions across the state in part of their research, and shocked me, but they had for Nottoway $1 million. And the nice thing about that is the state collects that money, and then it goes almost immediately back to the locality. Now, well, I won't say that, but so it's got some definite.
There's one school division I know that already had it because they went through the process with the General Assembly to get it approved for their county. It's now paying their bond payment for a new school building they just built. So, I mean, it does.
But it could.
It could. It very well, I mean, it could. It could generate some definitely needed revenue. And I said it's not just solely on the backs of Nottoway residents. It affects anyone who stops through here, comes here to shop. So, I mean, Fast C would definitely be a big draw for that, for us to get funding. So it would definitely help.
That's right.
If you go to the grocery store right now and I'll just use groceries, that's not going to be taxed, but we'll go into a clothing store and you spend $100. This is going to cost you $1. Who's going to even think about that or see that? Probably some, yes, but by and large, that is such a small amount with each transaction, but it adds up to a lot of money in the end.
Definitely.
I had done some research on it, and one of the things that I had found is through the localities, and I think they said it was 11. I tried to pull it up again real quick, but that the localities that did have this in place, they pulled in over $119 million.
And that was a funny thing, back whenever that was.
That was in 2021. That was, this report was in 26.
Okay, but it goes back a way, and the state granted 9 counties or localities the ability to do this. They didn't make it a blanket thing, which if this passes, well, it's passed the General Assembly, but if it passes in Nottoway, then we'll be.
Yes, indeed.
In the campaign.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
All right, any further questions? All right, may I have a motion to approve the 26-27 budget amendment?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, sign of aye.
Aye.
All right,
Doesn't need to
you
leave.
might as well stay there. There are no non-action items. Information item, the progress of the HVAC project.
So a lot has been going on at Crew Primary School.
Yes, indeed.
Since actually the week before school got out, because that's when they started coming in and doing some minor work here and there. But I did want to give you just an overview as far as where we're at currently. And I have some pictures to show you. So these are some of the kind of before pictures. This is how the workers are getting in and out of the attic space, which is the scaffolding along the side of the building. They're going in through one of the louvers that they've pulled off the side. There's also a picture there of the HVAC unit that they had to bring in so that they have air up in that space. Because it gets hot.
100-something degrees in there.
It can get extremely hot. I know last week when we had the triple-digit temperatures, they were coming in at 2 o'clock in the morning to work so they could get some work done.
Wow.
And still be able to work a full day without being, in the heat of the day. So we are being flexible with that because I don't want anybody passing out up there. No. So just some before pictures of what it actually looked like up there. One of our old units. And all this old insulation that you see, it will be coming out and new insulation will be going in. A lot of that has gotten wet over the last 15 months. So we want to get all that gross stuff out. Isaiah, I'll let you get the next one. The top picture up there is just a couple of the new electrical panels in our new actual HVAC mechanical room that we have turned a storage closet into. I had to put the picture of what the temperature was up there one day, which was 140 degrees, so you can see exactly how hot it gets. And then you'll see the other picture is just where they've taken out a lot of the HVAC units. It's getting kind of empty up there, which is nice. All the units have been demoed out. There are no units left up in the attic space. And then we've got new ductwork that's coming in, so that's exciting. I'll let you go to the next one, Isaiah. And then new pipe, which is awesome. We have one consistent material now, so we don't have, stainless steel and brass and PVC. It is all copper, so it can withstand the heat in the attic space. And of course, the heat should be better because the actual new HVAC units will not be in the attic space. It'll just be the piping that goes between the VAV boxes, so we won't have the extra heat being generated up there. You see some of the new ductwork that's been installed up there, and of course, have now officially poured all of the concrete pads for the units for them to sit outside. And I'm happy to say that we're going to put fencing around all those units so we don't have to worry about little kids, getting in there, messing with them, and all that, so we can keep everybody safe. Do I have one more, or is that the last one? It might have been the last one. So just so you know, I said everything has been demoed. We are on track. All the HVAC units will be getting delivered next week, and hopefully by the end of the week, we will have a portion of the school actually not back up, very close to being back up with air, which will be the cafeteria, kitchen, main office, that library section of the school. So that's kind of exciting that we're seeing some really good progress. Still don't have I'll say, a hard set date for everything to be finished, just because our goal is to have it back on before teachers come. Old saying, don't want to promise anything until we get closer to it and we know exactly for sure kind of how everything's running. But so far, knock on wood, everything's running fairly smoothly. We did have a little hiccup yesterday when they were taking something out of the attic. They accidentally hit and unfortunately destroyed one of our smoke alarms up in the attic space. We didn't think we were going to have a sprinkler system or a smoke detector system for the next few days. However, they were able to find a workaround today and they got it hooked back up. We're still down the one that was destroyed, but Johnson Controls is coming on Monday to fix that. Trane is paying for it, so that is not on our dime, because obviously it's their mistake. So that's, a nice thing about at least having a good working partnership. We don't have to stress too much over that. Accidents do happen. So we're just, happy that it was minor. Could have been a lot worse. So just wanted to kind of let you know where that's at. But we are right now fully on schedule to have everything buttoned up and ready to roll in time for teachers to come back. We still have a little bit of summer cleaning left to do in the building. We were able to get all the classrooms and offices done before they took the air conditioning offline, but we will have to get back in there and do all the hallways and get those shiny and pretty before open house, so that everything looks beautiful and shiny for our students. I will say the building temperature has actually stayed between 68 and 72 degrees, even without air conditioning in the building. Now the humidity level is a little high, but the air temperature is not too bad. So, but our staff currently, our office staff, are all working out of the gym where there is air conditioning, so that they're still able to function and continue moving the school forward while we are in progress with this. So we are certainly super excited about this, and we are very blessed that the county supported us on this, and we definitely appreciate that.
This is absolutely
Wonderful, and it's been in need for a long time. How many actual units are there going to be at the school?
1, 2, 3, 4. I think there's 8 total units.
8 total.
We have some on the cafeteria, kitchen side that have some mini splits to them, just because of the heat that's put off by like the server room, the heat that's put off by some of our kitchen equipment. It needs a little bit of an extra oomph in there, so we've got some mini splits going in there to make sure that those areas stay cool and comfortable. But it is exciting to see, and I look forward to being able to get some pictures in the next few weeks as they start to bring in other equipment, and we'll keep on going and documenting, so we're excited.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Thank you very much. All right, next we have the ANTC report from Mr. Outlaw.
Nothing at this time.
All right, thank you, sir. Next, the governor's school report from Ms. Duncan.
We have a meeting this month, and I'll provide a report next month.
All right. And from SEAC.
Nothing at this time.
All right, Dr. Lewis with the report.
So just to share, the directors and school administrators participated in our annual administrative retreat. It was phenomenal. It was very organized, data-driven, interactive. Should have seen it. We had a good time, but it was very thought-provoking, team building. We actually had a book study that we used as our theme. It was Row the Boat by John Gordon and P.J. Fleck. So it was nice. We really had a great time, but we learned a lot. We did a lot, and so we're ready for the upcoming school year. District leads also worked on creating pacing guides and curriculum frameworks for the upcoming year. This past June, they did English and they did math for elementary and secondary. So we're excited that that's ready for us to implement for this year. A number of our students did participate in the STEAM camp through SVCC, and some of our gifted students did participate in a talented and gifted camp through Longwood. And summer school has started, so we're excited about that. So far, enrollment has been 197. So a nice number of students are participating in summer school. Our high school students are going to be taking SOLs. They did do a round of SOLs today, and we did have some success there too. So summer school is well on its way. We're working on transportation, but we're going to get there.
Yes, indeed.
That's all I have.
All right, thank you very much. All right, under matters of school board interest, on July 30th is the ANTC joint board meeting at 6:30. August 5th to 6th is the new teacher staff orientation at the mini auditorium. August 10th, from 5 to 7 is the back to school parking lot party. August 14th is convocation this year at the Blackstone Armory from 11 to 2. August 19th is the students' first day of school. August 26th, we have a scheduled school board work session at 6 p.m. at the school board office. September 17th is the VSBA Legislative Advocacy Conference at Hilton in Charlottesville. All right, Mr. Outlaw, do you have anything?
No.
Mr. Abbott?
We've got a good summer going here.
Yes, we do. Mr. Abbott?
Very briefly, I attended the last day of the gathering, I will call it, of the staff. And I was told by the superintendent I was a witness, or I could watch, but I couldn't speak.
How in the world did you survive?
Did the impossible happen?
How in the world did you put a tape over your mouth?
I debated that with it for a moment, but we are extremely fortunate as a board to have a staff as involved, as capable, and as thought-provoking as was in that room that day. And I got to observe it for just a few hours. It was interesting to watch principals and assistant principals actually say out loud to their constituents, to their peers, things that they don't think they're doing well, and how they could use help in getting better. But that was admirable, and I will thank Dr. Lewis for being the efficient person that she is in that chair.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Duncan, do you have anything?
About 10 items, no, I'm kidding. No, for real, I want us to consider and take a look at our calendars now. I know last year, we, as a board, we attended the first day of school, welcoming students back in, so put that on your calendars now. I think that it was well received. I think it's important that we do those things as much as possible. Also, our attendance at the back-at-school parking lot party. I know that one year we set up a table, and it's not necessary. I mean, I love to be able to mingle with people. Just to consider being present for that, meeting your constituents. That's where, as Sonny just alluded to, hearing people, listening to people, being involved is where the real lessons and real communication happens. So I just wanted to kind of share my thoughts with that. I definitely am, it's on my calendar to be at both events. And other than that, that's it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'd just like to, one of the things why I probably would never live in a big area is because I love the community, a small town. I'm a small town country preacher. And I was talking to Dr. Lewis. She and I have something in common that we didn't ever think we'd have in common. She experienced a fire, and about a week later, I experienced a fire at my grandmother's house. And the way that people have supported us and expressing, if it's just a text message, those things matter. And that's one of the things I love about our small town, our community. We know each other, we feel each other's pain, and that's one of the best things about a small town. So that was my little soapbox message for the night. All right. Do we have a closed meeting resolution?
Mr. Chairman, pursuant to Section 2.23711A of the Code of Virginia, I move that the board convene a closed meeting for the purpose of discussing the following specific matters: the consideration of personnel for 11 appointments, 1 Title I family liaison, 1 history social studies teacher, 3 food service workers, 1 gifted liaison, 1 temporary instructor, 1 custodian, 2 instructional assistants, and 1 EPI instructor biology, and the information of 1 resignation.
All right, do we have a second?